In a small town, nestled right at the edge of a deep, dark forest, stood a solitary house. This was the last house, the one closest to the woods, and inside lived a little girl named Mia. Mia adored toys, but more than anything, she loved her dolls. Her room was a small kingdom of plastic and porcelain figures, each with its own story. One sunny afternoon, her grandmother came to visit, carrying a special gift. It was a doll, but not just any doll. This one was old, very old. It wore a faded red dress, had beautifully curled hair, and eyes made of glass that seemed to hold a strange depth. The doll was beautiful, almost unnaturally so. As her grandmother handed it to her, she leaned in and whispered, "Keep this doll somewhere safe, Mia. And whatever you do, never, ever let her face the window at night." Mia just laughed. It sounded like one of her grandmother's silly old tales. What could possibly happen? It was just a doll. That evening, as she was getting ready for bed, she remembered her grandmother's peculiar warning. A little smile played on her lips. With a sense of playful defiance, she placed the doll right on her little table, its glassy eyes staring directly out the window into the dark forests beyond. Exactly what she was told not to do. She tucked herself into bed, the doll's silhouette framed by the moonlight, and drifted off to sleep. The old grandfather clock in the hallway chimed, its gongs echoing through the silent house. 1, 2, all the way to 12. Midnight. Just as the last chime faded, a sudden, cold breeze swept through Mia's room, making the curtains dance. The doll on the table, still facing the window, began to change. Its glassy eyes started to glow with a faint, eerie light. In her bed, Mia stirred, turning over in her sleep, and as she did, the doll on the table, slowly, unnervingly, turned its head to look at her. For a fleeting second, its eyelids, painted and stiff, blinked. A sudden chill, a feeling of being watched, jolted Mia awake. Her eyes fluttered open, and she saw the doll. It was staring right at her. Her heart thumped in her chest. It must be a dream, she thought. Just my imagination playing tricks on me. She squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself back to sleep, trying to forget the creepy image. But then she heard it. A soft, distinct sound. Tap, tap, tap. It was a light, rhythmic noise, like tiny feet walking across the wooden floor. Mia's breath hitched. She forced herself to open her eyes, just a crack. The table by the window was empty. The doll was gone. Her eyes darted around the dark room, and then they fell upon a shape at the side of her bed. It was the doll. It was no longer on the table. It was sitting right there on the floor, next to her, its head tilted as if it were listening. A scream tore from Mia's throat, but it was muffled by her own terror. She yanked her blanket up over her head, creating a small, dark tent of safety. Her whole body trembled. The tapping had stopped, but the silence was somehow worse. And then, a soft whisper, so close it felt like it was right next to her ear. "Don't leave me alone." Mia froze, every muscle in her body tensed. Then she felt it, a gentle, steady pull on her blanket. It started sliding down, inch by inch, as if unseen hands were pulling it away. With a surge of adrenaline, Mia lunged out of bed, her eyes locked onto the doll sitting on the floor. In that moment of pure panic, her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. Never let her face the window at night. Trembling, she scooped the doll up from the floor. Its glass eyes seemed to bore into her, clutching it tightly. She scrambled to the window. With fumbling hands, she turned the doll around, so its back was facing the dark forest, and its face was looking into the room. Instantly, the whispering stopped. The cold draft vanished, and the air in the room felt warm again. A profound silence fell, a normal, peaceful silence. This time, the eerie presence was gone. Mia stood there for a long time, her heart pounding against her ribs, the doll clutched in her hands. The next morning, sunlight streamed into her room, chasing away the last of the shadows. The doll sat on her table, facing inwards, looking like nothing more than an old toy. But Mia knew better. She found her grandmother sitting in the kitchen, sipping tea. Mia sat down opposite her, her voice barely a whisper. "Grandma, why can't the doll face the window?" Her grandmother looked at her, her eyes filled with a sad, knowing look. She let out a long sigh. "Because, my dear," she said, her voice dropping low, "at night, when the moon is high, something in that forest calls to her." She paused, leaning closer across the table. "And if she ever answers that call," another pause, her whisper barely audible, "she won't be the only one who leaves." Mia never placed the doll near the window again. She tucked it away in a chest at the foot of her bed, buried under old clothes and blankets. But some nights, when the house was still and the world outside was dark, she could swear she heard it. A faint, distant sound carried on the wind. Tap. Tap, tap. Like something small, wandering through the forest, endlessly searching for the friend it had lost.